My God.
Mm-hmm.
There
I'm gonna view it on YouTube.
it goes. Let me hear it.
Do you see it on YouTube or no?
Mm, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
I don't want to keep looking over here at what I'm looking at
it's
because it's not
lagging.
this.
I think it's lagging.
Is it? Can you hear me?
Mm, I don't. I can hear you, but I can hear myself after I say whatever I'm saying. So I'm just going to
Yeah, because you're like
ignore that.
freezing. You're freezing and stuff like that. So
Yes.
yeah, it definitely is a lag. I'm looking at
I'm gonna go ahead and take it off.
how it looks on YouTube. It's a lag.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take it off. Hold on. Okay. So anyway, sorry. Welcome in, guys. This is Explore Motherhood. We are doing the birth story of Brandi Love. We have her here. Just a little bit about the organization. Explore Motherhood is an organization to educate moms of all walks of life, especially those who are people of color or moms of color, bridge the gap in reducing maternal and infant mortality rates. So today we are sharing a birth story because we want to share all of our stories because even though we know um, a vaginal birth is the best birth, we want to make sure we highlight all different types of births and all stories in general. We have a little guest here, so y'all please bear with me. um, so we want to make sure we're highlighting all of those stories. And bear with me as well. I do have a fear of public speaking, but that's one of the reasons why I did start this channel and this organization in general is to come out of my shell. So, once again, we have a couple of questions here, and we're just going to start um, by asking Brandi a little bit about herself. Now, this is just a heads up, this is one of my best friends. And so I know a lot about her, but I really wanted her to share. I really wanted her to share her story in general because it's a unique one, and so we're gonna have her go ahead and do that. So we're gonna go ahead and start with her telling us a little bit about herself and her family.
So my name is Brandi. Brandi Love. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I lived here most of my life, but yeah, pretty much a St. Louis, Missouri resident. Um, I was raised in a single parent home, but I've also always been connected to my paternal side as well. So I've had my family around, and now I have grown and I am the mother of a beautiful, amazing, sassy 4-year-old little girl. That is my only child. Um, One day I'll be blessed to have many, but right now we have our little one, and she is a handful. Um, I am still single, and as of right now, me and her father are co-parenting, so a balance of a co-parenting family. We don't do structure like you have weekend, I have weekend. It's just whoever she feels like she needs to be with, we allow her that time to be with that parent. So that's pretty
Yes,
much it.
ma'am. So, a question: was your birth planned at all? Because I know some people plan their births, or do you want to give us any background on that?
Um, My background, my birth was not planned at all.
Yes, ma'am.
My birth was far from planned. Far, far, far from planned. Um, Unexpected. Um, Now I can say that it is, I prayed for my daughter. So my daughter is a gift, because I know I prayed a prayer to God, and we know, like, I don't know about everybody else's beliefs, but sometimes when you ask for strength, God gonna give you something that's gonna build the strength. So
Yes.
I prayed for my daughter and I got her, and it wasn't in a way that I expected, that I seen,
Yes.
or yeah, it was not. And yeah, that's a little, I'm sure as we go on to this discussion,
Yes.
they're gonna learn more about my story. So
Exactly.
no, my birth was not planned at all. Um, Actually, when they told me I was pregnant,
Hmm.
I laughed so hard. Oh, I laughed so. They offered me an oxygen tank.
Right.
Like, they are like, do we need to get oxygen? Do we need to call somebody here?
Right.
And because I just laughed, like,
Yes, ma'am.
I was such in shock that I couldn't do anything but laugh. So no,
So, how
not.
did you actually find out you were pregnant?
Um, I I took a test
Hmm.
at home, actually at school that morning, and I was like, something is. It wasn't necessarily that it was off. It was just that I had the missed cycle.
Yeah.
So, no other major symptoms other than my cycle was off, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna take a test."
Right.
And then I took the test, and it was like, "You're pregnant." I took one. People take like seven.
Me. That's me. That's me. Look, I need to
And
make sure. Okay. Normally, I find out that I'm pregnant very early, so I get a faint line, so I have to take 7. So you go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I took one test. Okay,
Mhm.
one test. It said I was pregnant. I had never seen a positive pregnancy test in
In
my
my
life.
life. Hmm.
So when I took it, I was like, "Oh." So I went to class. Like, I went on with my day, and I was
Yes,
like,
ma'am.
I'm gonna just go to a clinic and I'm gonna go take this test. So I went to the clinic and they confirmed it, and I was like,
So, what were your initial thoughts when you discovered that you were pregnant?
uh, I had nothing. I had nothing. The moment she said, "Oh, congratulations, you're pregnant," um, even though I had taken the test that morning,
Hmm.
I still had not. I went to class. I did a presentation. Like, my mom was far from being pregnant, and when she said it, I was, you're joking.
Yeah, you
Like,
gotta be right.
joking right now. So, I didn't think anything. I had no idea what I was supposed to think or what I was supposed to do. Like, nothing.
Hmm. What
Nothing.
was the overall experience during pregnancy? Like, were there any hardships at all, or was it a smooth sailing pregnancy?
I would say physically, my pregnancy was pretty smooth.
Hmm.
I found out I was pregnant. I got sick one time.
Okay.
I had like this one moment of, okay, I'm having a hot flash. This is, whoo, it's crazy.
Hmm.
So I got sick. I vomited, laid on the bathroom floor, and I started talking to my baby. And I was like, hey, if you're gonna hang out in there, we're not going to do this.
No.
This cannot be a part of you hanging out in here. Okay. So after that day, I did not get sick anymore. I actually worked full time and went to school full time
Oh
the
wow.
entire pregnancy. So um, I was busy, but I didn't go into birthing until 3 days. I think I had maybe like a day or two off of work, and then I went and had my baby. So physically pretty smooth, pretty
Okay.
smooth. My pregnancy, I believe, was more mentally taxing,
Mm.
and it was more of the like testing your mental strength. And we have to like, see.
Okay. So why was it mentally taxing?
So when I had lost a close friend the year before that, and he was like an amazing, amazing friend. So I believe that I know that I was still in the grieving process of
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, and then my village was
Mm.
not what I needed.
Right.
Uh, in the sense that um, me when I conceived my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
that me and her father were not together.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually um figure out a word for it, but I can't figure out a word for it, so we're just gonna go with it, okay? Um, but me and her father were not together. It was not planned, like I said before. My the situation with my daughter's father was more forced upon me.
What do you,
So I kind of just ended up pregnant as a result of that situation. So I did not want him around. I did not plan for him to be a part of any of it. I didn't want to see him because he had forced me in such a way that I never felt that way before, and it was very discomforting. I didn't want his support. He couldn't support me after our situation. So um, and
can
I
you
don't. Hmm.
can you kind of give a bit more explain in a bit more detail what you mean by
You guys, you gotta remember, Camille is my friend, and she really wants me to tell you all.
no,
And
I
she
don't. No, I don't want you to tell what you don't want to tell, but I
no,
want you
but
to elaborate. So if there's someone in your situation that
yes,
they feel that they could use your situation and benefit from it if they're going through the same thing. That's the only thing. That's the reason why I'm trying to guide her questioning to what it
but
needs
I
to
know
be.
so to put it in more of a terms, and I know Camille is coming from a good place because we've talked about it before and stuff. So Camille, so I love her for putting me in this spotlight. By the way, just so you all know that because whoo, she's been along my journey. But so my support system was not strong from the beginning of my pregnancy, and I would say before my pregnancy, because my daughter's father assaulted me.
Mhm.
And so my pregnancy was not planned because when I went to the doctor after that and they said that I was pregnant, how could I get, after all these years of
Mhm.
these committed relationships and even efforts of trying, that I had such a traumatic experience where I was assaulted and then I ended up pregnant.
Right. Okay.
So I didn't want his support. I didn't want him around me. I was trying to figure out how I was going to do this without him even being a part of our lives. So I don't have a strong relationship with my parents. They've also always been around, but I don't have a strong relationship with them. So that wasn't it. That was not great support for me. Many of my friends are distant,
Mhm.
so I can call them,
Yeah.
and if they are able to, but most of them are distant. So when I got pregnant, I was my support system. Me and
Right.
God was my
Right.
support. Like that was the support that I had. Um, and I had to be okay with it. I think that was the biggest part, was being okay with the fact that it is me and God in this thing,
Right.
and
And
I
nobody
have
else.
I have to go. Like God said, we're gonna go. we're going. God put this in my path for a reason, so we're going with it.
So
God,
I want to ask you a question. I probably never asked you this. What made you? Well, I guess how far along were you when you found out?
when I found out, I believe I was like 6 weeks. It was early.
It was early.
Like it was
Okay.
probably like six. It was probably 6 weeks or less. It was early, and I just like
So was it so the way that you became impregnated was a bit traumatic, so to speak. So what made you be grounded enough to want to keep your child?
um when I realized this is not about me.
Yes, ma'am.
This whole experience, everything that's going on. I feel like God has us on missions, not for ourselves, but for other people and for people around us. And I had already had my beliefs and values aligned. Where, like, when she said that I was pregnant, I was like, "It's no way that I'm getting it up. Like, that's not happening."
Right.
So, um, I just had to get closer to God and figure out what the mission that God had in store for me, because this is not about me. Like, things it's more of taking myself out of that victim mindset of this happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
and putting myself in the mindset of this happened for me.
Right.
Because I was like, okay, I'm not going to live in this. This is not going to be my story, even though I'm telling you on there, and I have no problem with talking about it, and because that's where my journey began.
Mm-hmm.
But this happened for me. And if
Right.
it happened for me, then it's something that I can help people with and help people get through. And I can grow through myself, not just being stuck in it. So I really was like, okay, God, this is not about me. Like, this cannot be about me, because God wouldn't punish me in that way. I don't feel punished. God wouldn't, put some kind of burden on me that He knows that I can't bear. So if God is putting this in my path, I'm going with it and I'm walking by faith. So it's not about me. I just have to walk by faith and trust what God has ordered for my steps.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
me.
I think I've never really asked you that. So that was hmm. And
Yeah.
that wasn't on a script either. So that I don't know where that came from. But yes, ma'am. Um, so how did you prepare like for the birth of your child? Like were there any classes you took or anything of that nature? Or once you once you realized that you were going to have, I'm having this child, did you say I'm going to actually take some birthing classes, or what was your mind after that, after you found out?
My mind, after I found out that I was pregnant, is I guess they said that. That's what they said. They said that I'm pregnant. They said that. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, no, I did not take any birthing classes. I found the OB that I found, first one changed because I was like, I don't even want to, like, she wasn't a fit. And that, I think that's when I kind of tuned into my pregnancy a little bit more in saying, like, she's not going to fit. So I know I need to do something different. Um, and other than going to my doctor, and yeah, going to my doctor. That's what I did to prepare myself. I went to the doctor. Um, it wasn't until after I had my daughter that I started to do more research and started looking in. I was like, oh, I wish I would have knew that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, it was more mentally taxing for me. So most of my pregnancy was focused on, I have to get through this thing.
Right.
That's it. Like, I just need to get
Get
through
through
this,
this.
because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be like down and sad, and then my baby come out like sad, or and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't want my energy to affect her. I don't. So I just need to go through this. And I would say to describe it in any words that in simplest form was I turned the world off.
Yeah.
That I didn't go to any birthing classes because I could not take going into another situation and something else happening.
Right.
Um, I couldn't take going around somebody already in my situation that I didn't feel secure with. Not adding another person, adding another situation. It was like, you have this routine to get you
Hmm.
through this. You get up, you go to work, you go to school, you go home. You get up, work, go to school, and go home. Stop by the doctor when you need to go to the doctor. But any extra outside, I was like, mentally, no, I know myself. So knowing that I was already in a grieving state from losing someone, and
Hmm.
then I was also in that traumatic response of the concept during from the conception of my daughter, um, versus, I mean, including like living situations and the people
Yeah.
that I have around me, like just life. Pregnancy makes life.
Yes.
Okay, it makes
Yes.
life
It
life.
makes everything more real, you know? It makes everything like, okay,
Yes,
this is it.
I remember like, and that's why I turned the world off, and I had to deal with the world as minimal as possible. So one day, I think I was probably like 7 or 8 months pregnant,
Hmm.
and I went to Walmart.
Oh.
I went to Walmart, and it was after a certain time. So if you go to Walmart, even in what area you're in, one door closes,
Right.
and I'm
Okay.
8 months pregnant, and the door that I parked next to is locked,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I cried. I cried and I cried and I demanded a supervisor, and the supervisor came and they didn't give me. I now I need a manager, and I'm supposed to call corporate because there is no reason that I'm 7 months pregnant and I have
Walk all the way down here. What's going
to
on?
walk
Yeah.
all the way back to my car. This is crazy. So I was like,
Hmm.
see, this is why I cannot go in the world right now. Because, and the man was like, man, we can get you a card. I'm like, it's not the point of getting a card. So I had to turn the world off, focus on what was the most important to me, which was making sure that my daughter was born happy and healthy, and that I can remain in a space where I can take care, be competent enough to
Hmm.
care for her. So yeah,
So
no,
walk us through that day. Like what happened exactly? How did you know you were going into labor? What did that look like for you?
um, I had so like before, like I said, I changed my doctors in in the midst of my pregnancy. So when I changed my doctor, I had already had that midway ultrasound, like where they do gender and anatomy, all that. I had already had that. So the doctor that I changed to had never seen my baby on the ultrasound. And she didn't really know her growth rate or, how things were going. And I would say she was growing really fast. And then um,
1 second.
she
Sorry.
she had she scheduled me she did it as like a high risk ultrasound, like emergency ultrasound, because she had said like, oh, your insurance, like you have been completely healthy during this pregnancy, they're not going to pay for another ultrasound, so we have to do it as a high risk in order for you to be able to go ahead and get it, so they'll cover it. So I was like, well, that's fine, you can see her, like that's fine. So I went in for the ultrasound, and when I got in, they told me that my baby was healthy, she looked fine, but she had stopped growing. And I was like, okay, so what's going on? They were like, well, we don't know. Maybe it could be something with her placenta. And they were like, or maybe she could be on, wrapping up in the umbilical cord, so she's not getting the nutrients. And they were, we see a heart, we have a heartbeat, and we have this, and we have that, and she looks fine. So I'm like, okay. They're like, well, we're gonna admit you because she's too small. Like, okay. And that's where I wish that I would have had like that doula or companionship there for that part
How many
because
weeks were you?
I was 39,
Okay.
39 weeks.
Yeah, and
Um,
you were saying you wish you had that support system there.
yes,
Um,
because they were saying all of that and they were not having any complications, anything like that. And I'm like, but I wanna like I don't feel like I need to be here.
right.
And my baby was small, and she's still small. She grows slow now. So taking her out a week earlier or however long that she wanted to bake earlier
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything for her because she's still pretty small. Um, I gained a lot of weight when I was pregnant. So I'm a small person. I
Mm-hmm.
usually don't go over like 120.
Yeah.
I'm small framed. So my baby didn't have much where else she was gonna grow to. I don't think she was growing anywhere else. She actually came out what was she, 7 pounds? So she wasn't small like they thought she was.
Right.
For her space was compact because I'm not that big.
Big. Yeah.
I can't carry a huge baby. It's not
Yeah.
gonna grow, like have anywhere to grow. But if I would have had someone there, they could have talked with me through that and helped me make that decision and say like, okay, if I feel anything or if there's anything that comes up, we'll just keep in touch and we'll be back if anything comes up. Then or even just to have thought about it and make the decision to say, okay, I am gonna stay. Like it's making more sense to stay, just so you all can monitor or whatever it may have been. So
Okay. So then they admitted you, and um, did they induce you afterwards, or
yes, yes.
so you got pitocin? Did you get an epidural? How did it go?
I got Pitocin. So I actually left. I had to convince them to let me leave because I needed to go get my bags and all my things because I'm a one man army. So I didn't come to this prepared. I came for an ultrasound. So I need to go get my stuff so that I convinced them to let me leave. And they're like, you have to be back by a certain time or we're going to report you. And I was like, I need an advocate. Like I need somebody here with me, like that is standing by my side. So I left. I came back around I'll say around 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I was not dilated at all. Not a nothing. That
Nothing.
baby was not coming. That baby was not coming anytime soon. So they gave me Pitocin. They gave me the first dose. I think in total we did 2 doses of Pitocin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did get an epidural because once I got in that room, I realized if they are going to give me a drug, they're going to give me all of the
The
drugs
drugs.
that they have,
Hmm.
that they have to offer
Yeah.
me
Well,
because
you got pitocin. Of course, those contractions were gonna start picking up and hurting. Okay, because you're forcing them. So yes,
them
ma'am.
those are the most unnatural pains I've
Hmm.
ever felt in my life. If I would have
Yeah.
done it natural, I believe that I could have just done it without the Pitocin and I would have been fine. My body would have been more prepared. But
Hmm.
because we were trying to force my body to do something that it wasn't ready to do, it was like my body is fighting itself.
Yeah.
So
So, and you're a doula now, right? So,
yeah, so now
give
yeah,
us and what inspired you to become a doula? Was it that
that
experience
that
or?
process of that because I went in at 7. They gave me the first dose of Pitocin at 8. I wasn't dilated at all. Um, they came back. I still hadn't dilated, and they gave me the second dose of Pitocin
Hmm.
at 6:30 a.m. the next day. I had only dilated to 1 centimeter.
Hmm.
So, and I said, this is crazy. crazy.
Yeah.
Why am I in here in this much pain? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I need to talk to somebody else. I need somebody to do something. And I was there by myself. Um I don't think any of my family showed up until about 30 minutes before I gave birth.
Right.
So um I was in there from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. undilated, 2 doses of Pitocin.
Mm-hmm.
I tried the ball, so I was just doing my little hip rotations on the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, nah, it's not working for me. I did the peanut,
Mm-hmm.
and I need some more help with this because this is not it. So the one thing that I found to help me was taking a warm shower,
Okay. Yeah.
water, water. So I took I had a bath first, and I just sat in the tub until the water got too cold, and I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Right.
But and then the heat, the warmth of the water hitting my back was really soothing to my contractions. And I'm more of a water person too,
Mm-hmm.
so the water was really helping. Even being in that cool water, it was just like
Mm-hmm.
being in the water was helping me. And I was like, okay. And they came and said I had to get out of the water because the
Okay.
water was too warm for my baby and my baby's heart rate was fluctuating. So the one coping
Right.
mechanism that I found for myself, my daughter did not like that.
Right.
So I was
She was
back.
she was probably relaxing. You know, she was in there relaxing. They was like, "What's going on? The heartbeat getting a little low." Because of
We
course,
were relaxed. We was
yeah,
sitting in
yeah.
that shower.
Well,
We
the
were,
medication they gave you is going to cause a deceleration of the baby's heartbeat, anyways. So, pair that with some drugs, some other type of drugs, pain drugs. We're gonna, you know,
yeah.
eventually.
That's what, and realizing that afterwards and becoming a doula and understanding like if you're giving me this pitocin, you're already making her uncomfortable
Hmm.
because you're giving me that and you're forcing my body to fight. And then if you pair it with the epidural or any other pain management relaxation kind of drugs,
Yeah.
then you're not only relaxing your body, you're
Hmm.
relaxing your baby.
Yeah.
So
So
a
that
lot of
so both of y'all are not working with each other at this point. And so,
and my body is confused because my body is fighting, but it wants to relax, and now my baby is discomforted because of the fight, but now she wants to relax.
yes, ma'am.
So having that now and knowing like she didn't she it wasn't time and forcing that and even forcing my body into that mode. I think even during the birthing process I did deliver vaginally,
Hmm.
but she gave us a she was like
A
no, she
hard
was
of a hard time.
she
Yeah,
was
I
really
wanted to. I
thin, and I think that's what pushes people when they have all of that happen because you'll hear people say like, "Oh, I did this and I did that and then they still ended up giving like doing a cesarean." And I'm
yeah,
like, "Yeah, because your body didn't know what if it was coming or going
yes,
at that
ma'am.
time, so they couldn't do anything but now put and just do what they had to do because that fight, the relaxation, everything happening in your body at one time is causing so much confusion that now they're kind of antsy. So they're like, we're just going in and getting it now. Like we have to
Hmm.
do that. And luckily I was still able to deliver vaginally. They wanted to use the stirrups and the suction and stuff, but we ended
Hmm.
up not having to use it.
Hmm.
But I had to like talk her.
So, what was going through your mind since you didn't have much of like the support system wasn't there? I mean, I got there. I wasn't there physically, but I was on the phone,
Mhm.
and so I got there once a few of your support system arrived, and so what was that like? Just having to go through the laboring process by yourself, really? Like, what was your mental state?
It was great.
Okay,
If
let's
they
talk
wouldn't,
about that.
if they wouldn't have showed up at 3:30, I would have been great.
Done. Yes.
What when I realized the position that I was in from the beginning of my pregnancy, I made sure that I was going to make this an intimate experience. I
Mm-hmm.
am not lonely. I am not deprived. I do not lack. I am intimate about this experience.
Now that's some snaps. Let's get some snaps going.
This is going to be very like this pregnancy is me time.
Yeah.
Okay, it is me time. I don't care about what else is going on. This is about me. So, even though I faced those different mental challenges throughout my pregnancy, people might say like I didn't respond the way that they thought I was
Would
supposed
have.
to
Mm-hmm.
respond. Just for example, so I gave birth to my daughter on the 30th. I mean on the 29th. 29th. I know her birthday. I gave birth to her on the 29th. Well, on of January. On the 30th, I got a phone call. They told me that my grandfather passed away.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, okay. And one of my friends, he was there and he was like, did you just hear what they said to you?
See it?
And I said,
Mm.
I heard exactly what they just said to me, and I would like to feed my baby now.
Right.
I hear you and I'm understanding what is happening with right now in this moment and throughout my entire pregnancy. This is an intimate moment between me and my daughter. So I
Mm-hmm.
cannot take on the problems of the world.
World right
I
now.
cannot
Mm-hmm.
be burdened by what other people think or how they consider
Yeah.
like everything that's I can't be worried about that right now. So it was more of creating that intimacy. I think I only had my sister go to one doctor's appointment with me, and
Mm-hmm.
that was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want people going to the doctor with me. Um, I know you'll even say like it's stuff I still don't even know. Like you just did it
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I'm not sharing it until I'm ready to share it. I'm not sharing it because this is a part that I want to keep. But every aspect of my pregnancy, I was like, this is intimate. I'm not
Yeah.
alone. Like her father is not here. Even once I told him, um, I still didn't heavily involve him. I let him know what was going on, but I didn't heavily involve him in my pregnancy, of course. So um yeah, it was really like this is intimate. I'm not alone. I'm not by myself. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel sad about it. I really don't have time to do this. Um, I'm going to take this time to really connect with my baby because in the eyes of the world, this is not even a situation that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like
Exactly.
this is not even something and it's like the craziest thing because during that time also with me being pregnant in 2019 you have to also consider that Roe versus Wade was going on.
Yeah.
So when the number one excuse was
Mm-hmm.
nobody would want to have a baby after, and I'm
After, yeah, after being assaulted, you know.
like and it was like that was everyone's number one like this is our reason, and I'm like all right. Yeah, okay. So I couldn't take on what the world was saying. I couldn't take on what my family thought, what anybody else would think or have to say. It was more of be in that intimate space. I think I started off my laboring process doing homework. And I was
Mm-hmm.
emailing my teacher, and she was like, Brandy, I thought you just said you were in labor. And I was like, I am actually, I'm waiting on a nurse to come back, but I'm about to send you this paper, okay?
Yes.
And she was like, don't send me anything. Like I don't want anything from
Yeah.
you. But I was just like, I just need to go in a way that kept me peaceful. So I
Right.
had my homework, I turned on some music. I kind of paced around the room and was just like walking and da, 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 da. I was like, the first person that says I'm hungry is getting out anyway.
Mhm. Yeah.
So don't need you here because if you say you're hungry, if you say you're tired, if you
Mhm.
say you're get out.
Out. Yeah. So what
So
was the pushing process like? I know you mentioned the sternups or the forceps. So did you actually have to use those? Was it hard for you to push since you had the epidural? Was it a
um
long process at all, or?
how long was I in labor? I don't even know how long I was pushing, but I can tell you that I still felt my contractions. So those epidurals are not always guaranteed to help. I would tell them like I'm having a contraction right now.
Mhm.
Very faint, but I'm like, I'm having one. And they would look at the monitor like, oh yeah, you
You
are going
are.
into a contraction. Like, yep, I can feel it. So um it was pretty, it was really smooth. My
Mhm.
daughter, of course, gave us a little struggle because she wasn't ready to come when they wanted her to come. So
Mhm.
but no extra force was needed. We kind of just like walked it down and I'm like, okay, you know, we're doing it. I wasn't in labor long, I can say that. Like once
Mhm.
I think I went from 1 centimeter and then the next time they checked me I was at like 5 or 6. So once it finally started,
Yeah.
it kind of just went and
Picked
then
up.
by the time she got, but by the time I got to like 10 centimeters, she walked out the room. She's like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call the doctor because you're at 8 or
Mhm.
whatever. I'm gonna let them know you're at 8 so I can let the doctor know to start being en route or whatever." Because I was that was one thing about my birthing plan was that my doctor
Had
has
to
to be
deliver.
to deliver my baby. I will not do this if she is not here. So they had to call her in because she was off, but she was like, I'm gonna let her know you're at 8 so she can be on her way. So she walked out the room and let the doctor know I was at 8. And then she was like, well, let me just check you one more time, just to see, make sure. And she was like, oh, you're at 9.5. And I was like, oh, just that fast? She was like, this is
Yeah.
going way faster than what I thought it was about to go. So
Mhm.
she went ahead and my doctor did end up making it for the
Okay.
birth. So she did deliver my daughter. And then my sister was by my side. Thank God for her. She was by
Right.
my as soon as my daughter was birthed, I started crying. I have no idea why I cried.
Yeah.
No idea. But I just started crying. So
And you still don't know?
I don't know why I started. It was just I don't. It was like a kind
A
of thing.
relief cry. Like I did
It,
it.
I did it.
I did it. Mhm.
I did this.
I made it this far.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When I had a baby shower, so when we were at my baby shower, I was like, guys, guess what? Like, we're at my baby shower.
Mhm.
I'm having a baby. This is crazy. They said I was pregnant. They did tell me that. And I'm here now. So once I gave birth, it was pretty smooth. I I probably end up with like a half a stitch, maybe like one stitch, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, and that was more from the force of them trying to get her out, I
Get
think.
her out. Mhm.
Yeah. If I wouldn't have had them trying to force her, I don't think I would have
You would have tore.
tore. No.
Mhm.
But I
So
got like a little.
what was it like afterwards? Did she go directly to you?
No,
Of course I know these answers, or did she go to the table first and then to you? How did that go?
my daughter she went to the table first.
Mhm.
She went to the table. So she was weighed and her
Mhm.
umbilical cord was clipped
Mhm.
before she came to me. But I'm going to treat because a part of my birth plan was for her to come directly to me. Um, excuse me. Once I got gave birth, and I was crying and I was here and I was just like letting it all out.
Mhm.
It was this that she went to the table
Yeah.
And once I was able, because my doctor was like, "She's breathing. Do you hear her? She's crying.
Breathe.
She's
Mm-hmm.
crying. You don't have to cry." Like, and she's just like reassuring me that everything is
Think it's
fine. Like,
okay.
they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, my sister was like, just like there. She was like, "It's okay. You did it." Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all, like, it was so many emotions happening that she went to the table and I was like, okay, that gives me a minute to
To,
breathe.
yeah.
And now I can get her back. So
Right.
um, once I got her, she stayed with me
Mm-hmm.
majority of the time, other than their test that they wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
at the hospital. She stayed with me, and I made them do some of them in the room. So
So you did skin to skin, and then they did cut the umbilical cord, and then what was it like postpartum? Like, did they do anything, any checks? Did they talk to you about anything afterwards?
um, after I gave birth, I did. They did the here's
The
my bladder.
uterus.
Yeah, my uterus check.
Hmm.
I did do that. Um, it was an interesting time to be giving birth. I gave birth at the peak, like at the beginning of the pandemic. So when they were trying to decide what was happening
Hmm.
with the hospitals, what was the next step for the hospital, I gave birth during that in between time.
Okay.
So there was right before I came, people could have as many guests as they wanted.
Hmm.
When I was there, they didn't know who they were going to allow in my room, if they were going to allow the people in my room. So it was kind of a toss up. And then as soon as I left, nobody was allowed in the birthing
Yeah.
place. So I was kind of caught in that in between. I didn't have a traumatic pregnancy. I didn't have any medical issues. My baby was perfectly healthy
Hmm.
um, once they realized that her weight was fine. So I believe I kind of got put on like the good health wing
Hmm.
the hospital. So I didn't have a whole lot of checks. I didn't have a whole lot of nurses coming in. And that's also a good time where my doula would have been helpful. And
Hmm.
I realized that because I didn't even have lactation come in. Luckily, I had been talking about, like, I had gotten in my head and talked to my OBGYN, and we knew a part of my birth plan was that I was nursing. So that is
Hmm.
one thing. And I did connect with my local WIC office already.
Okay.
So I made sure I made that connection. They had got me pumps. Um, so I had already started working in that area, even though I didn't really know what I was doing.
Hmm.
And my daughter was an easy latch.
Okay.
So she just came kind of just like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm about
Hmm.
to eat. So I didn't have the consultant come in, but my nursing it went smooth, and I had a lot of I had some support with that. Of course, Camille supporting
Hmm.
with that. My WIC office, big support. My OBGYN supported me through that. And look, she had just had a baby. So she came
Mm.
back from having her baby, and my baby was, I think, the first one she delivered since she
Mm.
had been
Okay.
back. So
So what about like labs? Like, cause I just want to give other people like a glimpse of what they might go through afterwards. So you got, okay, they cut the cord, and then you got skin to skin, you latched. Nobody
uh,
really came in the room to do any other checkups because you weren't high risk or anything of that nature. So
not
you,
for me.
mhm,
They were more doing like those kind of the hearing tests for Lynn, and
the PKU test,
they
they did
did
that.
those.
Hmm.
It was more about her.
Yeah,
It
then you. Okay.
was
Hmm.
it like they were like, okay, well, we checked and you're fine. You went to the bathroom. We made sure you're going to the
Right.
bathroom normal. And yeah, after that, yeah, that
So
was
how long
it.
did you stay in the hospital afterwards?
I stayed the day that I gave birth and the day after I gave birth.
And what did your support system look like during that moment?
Um, they were visiting. I
Mhm.
had like people stopping in, but I had got so much in my I'm ready for everybody to go
Right.
like mode that I'm in my own world. They would
Mhm.
come and, see the baby for a little while. But it was mostly just me and her. And um they, of course, they helped when I first gave birth because they were there. They helped me in the process of transitioning from that labor and delivery to recovery, and
Mhm.
they stayed as long as they could and they left. And then when I went home,
Okay.
they were there, but it was mostly just me and my girl. But that is my girl.
So emotionally, once you saw her, and based off of the I guess the experience of the conception, what was your thoughts when you saw her? Like, was it a relief? Did you feel like, oh my gosh, this was real? This actually happened? How did it make you feel in that moment?
Seeing her, I was just like, oh, that's all I could feel is like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm really about to do, like, I'm doing
I'm
this.
doing this. Yeah.
Doing this. And still to this day, I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. This is what, girl, okay. Um, I think a great thing that helped and that pivoted the process, and not just because of my situation,
Mhm.
because I believe that I would do the same thing if I had another child, or continue to carry it on with my children as
Mhm.
I have them. When I first came home, I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
I was first time mom. I didn't have the ideal mother daughter relationship with my daughter, so there was not really a sense of parenting from my perspective.
Mhm.
So as far as seeing a healthy,
Mhm.
well-functioning parent, I I
Had not
hadn't
seen that.
experienced. Yeah, I
Mhm.
hadn't experienced it, and I knew I was taking on a journey that I didn't know what I was doing, and there were not many people around me that could give me the advice that I needed to fit my circumstances.
Right.
People can give you advice all day long. You should do this. Maybe you should try this. Da, 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 da. And I'm
Right.
like, you have to understand the whole picture
Yeah.
of
No.
what's going on, because now I'm still healing from these experiences and
Mhm.
being a parent. And I know there's a lot of parent stories that I'm still growing myself. I'm still healing myself. And now I have a baby. What am I supposed to
To
do?
do. Mhm.
So when I got to that point after I prayed a long, long, extensive prayer, I created a parenting mission,
Mhm.
and I wrote down what I wanted for my children and the type of parent that I wanted to be to them.
Mhm.
So I included things from their personality. I wanted them to be well rounded. I wanted them to be independent. I wanted them to be strong and courageous. I wrote everything down that I wanted them to be. And to this day, I still reflect on it
Yeah.
because I'm growing as a person. Life is continuing to life. Things
Mhm.
are continuing to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, if I didn't have this girl right here, right now, I could just, if
Yeah.
I could just, or sometimes my daughter, she is who spicy. Okay?
Spicy. Yes.
She'll say stuff, and I'm like, you just said that to me.
Yeah.
And I have to remember I have already laid this mission down and I have it in my head and I have it written and I can reflect on it and say, well, I do want her to be confident.
Mhm. Mhm.
I do want her to not be afraid to speak up for herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
If she tell her, Mommy, you are really making me sad. And I'm like, okay, Let me see what's going on, what's making her sad, and I have to check up because I don't want to dwindle that down because that is a part of what I wanted for her. So I think that creating that parenting mission from the beginning, it helped guide my path a little bit better to know, like, to keep me on track, especially with her and having all these other things that I have going on and everything that I want to do, knowing my mission when it came to her was the, like, ooh,
Right.
like my own playbook. That's just
So
like my
what?
play.
So what? That statement leads me to ask you, what advice would you give any expecting mothers that might have been going through a similar situation as yours?
I would tell them going through a similar situation as mine that nobody else matters. Don't care. Care so much about what other people have to say that you don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
Care so much. You can, okay, well, they might say this, they might say that, but we don't even care.
Yeah.
We care so much about yourself that you don't care what anybody else has to say. Nobody has ever been in the shoes that you are walking in right now. So they may have
Right.
a lot to say.
Yeah.
They or they have been in similar situations,
Situations. Mm-hmm.
but they don't know. So you have to care so much about yourself in this moment that you don't care what anybody else has to say.
Right.
It's your experience. You have to do it the way that you need to do it. So if, oh, my mom would love to be there, my dad would love to be there, my siblings, my best friend, and you know, like, you walking on eggshells to make that decision, care so much about yourself that you don't care if
Mm-hmm.
you told them the truth. Tell
Right.
them the truth. You cannot be there right now. I don't want you to go to the doctor with me. I don't, and it
Mm-hmm.
might not even be something that you don't want them to do, but care so much about yourself that you are willing to invite the people that you want there,
Into your
even if
space.
it's beyond their understanding. It can
Mm-hmm.
be like how she asked them to be in the room and not me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you do what you
You
need to
need to do.
do for
Mm-hmm.
you,
Yeah.
even not even considering the child, but for yourself, because you are going into a extraordinary
Mm-hmm.
time.
Experience. Yeah. And yeah. And
you
journey. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to be on your P's and Q's. You are the main character of
Right.
this whole situation. So if we have no main character, we have no story.
Right.
Like, you have to just okay, I'm doing it. And I tell people, this is the time when your walk of faith starts.
Yeah.
Like, so don't look for the answers, you don't have them. You have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm telling you
Mm-hmm.
that you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what's about to happen. You don't know. And in reality, that's 99% of the world that none of us know what we're doing. We're winging it.
Mm-hmm.
We're winging it. So you can't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers for you. Don't worry about what people are gonna say, what they're gonna think, what they're gonna do. Just care about yourself. Really care about yourself, for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just fine. Better
Yeah.
than what you even think that you can be. Because I think
That's right.
the biggest thing for me was, like, when I prayed that prayer that I said I prayed, I was telling God, I have no idea what I'm doing. And
Right.
if it was up to me, I could not see past the birth of my daughter. Like, where
Mm-hmm.
I was going past the birth of my daughter, I have
No
no
idea. Right.
idea. I'm about to give birth to a baby and then we just gonna sit here. Okay? That's what
Right.
we gonna do. We just gonna sit. I had no idea. And I think a lot of times people do things, not just give birth, and they have no idea. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay
Where to go
to not
next?
know.
Yeah.
It's Be okay with not knowing.
Knowing. Yeah.
Be okay with it because that means you're learning, you're growing. What I
Right.
say? To me, it was like, oh, I need to do this. This is getting on my nerves. Like this. As long as you have something bothering you or something that you're thinking about, you have a goal.
Yeah.
You have a goal. So you just
Okay.
keep on going, girl.
Go ahead.
Keep on pushing,
I'm coming.
and just go,
No, no, no.
go. I'm
Go
cheering
ahead.
for you. So you got somebody cheering for you. You got somebody that's like, hey, I'm here.
Right.
If you have
So
questions,
is
you
there
want
any way that people can get in contact with you because you are a doula? Give us a little bit of what you have going on because you do have a lot going on in regards to self-care. Do you want to share that information or we could
sure.
actually send it out later?
We can do both. So right now I am a doula. I have not been practicing right now. I've still been, mastering my skill. As of
Mm-hmm.
right now, I'm focused on self-love advocacy. So encouraging people to love themselves through whatever they've been through, like
Right.
finding the peace within themselves, being comfortable and happy with their self, not having that longing for it, but to know that you are living in abundance already.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I do have a journal, and it is called the Me Revolution. It is a guided journal, and it's a series of questions that really help you to dig into yourself and know yourself better. And it was developed during that time period while I was going through pregnancy and postpartum. It was like, okay, who am I going to be? Because I'm not the same person that I was, but I know that I am a great person. So let me pull this out of myself. Like I have to pull myself out of myself. So I was able to cultivate the Me Revolution Experience Journal. Um, and then yeah, it's growing, guys. Stay tuned, guys. That is the
Yeah.
foundation of it. So it is growing. I am getting back into my doula practices, so there's gonna be some gems there. Just yeah, a lot of I'm doing a lot there.
Well, I just want to thank you for sharing your story. It was one that I wanted to be shared first. It was something weighing on her and me that we wanted to be shared with the world. So I am glad that she was one of the first to actually do this series. If you would like to share your birth story as well, definitely go to exploremotherhood.org and let us know. We also have a few different products on there. If you are expecting mother and about to have a birth, we have birth plans, birth affirmation cards, as well as a hospital bag template. If you guys would like to check that out, and do you have any closing remarks that you would like to say to our listening family here, Brandi?
Um, I just want to tell you all that you all are doing awesome. That is it. You are doing awesome. Keep up the great work. Don't let those kids take you out. I know they test you. Don't let them take you out. Choose your battles wisely. But
Right.
you doing awesome and know that you are loved for exactly who you are. So don't change anything about yourself. Continue to get better. Be a better you.
Well, thank you for having this talk with me. If you guys would like to join our Exploring Motherhood group, we do have a Facebook private group that you could join. The link should be in the bio of the YouTube, as well as you can check us out on Instagram. Our Exploring Motherhood at is I think it's just Explore Motherhood. And then we also have, once again, you can get to all of this through exploremotherhood.org. You can get to our YouTube, our Facebook group, and all of that if you just go there. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment box. And we would love to see you guys again. We're going to sign out.
Make sure you all add me on Facebook. I'm Brandi Love, Brandi Love. And then on Instagram, it's just call me B, JSTCALLME _B.
The letter B.
Yes, the letter
So,
B.
Yeah, some people you got to be specific for. Okay, so that's it. Peace and blessings, love and light. See you guys later. Signing out.